Ooh, look at
I haven't
that.
heard from him or from Karen. So,
Okay.
I would assume he's jumping on.
okay. Well, why don't we give it till 7:05 and then we will just get started. We'll figure people can join as they would like to. So, someone's here. Hi, Robbie.
Hello. So
All right.
I'm sorry, I had a bit of trouble getting signed in.
You're fine. We're going to wait one more minute and see if Karen joins us. And if not, we'll just get started. So,
Okay. Meantime, I'm going to see if my laptop will actually allow me to sign in. I've been trying to get it going for good about 30, 40 minutes now. It's been,
Ooh,
No.
it's uncooperative. I don't use my personal laptop much. So
do you want us to wait till you can see if that works, or should we get started? Whatever you want.
1 second. It says I'm on the passcode right now. So
Okay.
I'll find out very quickly.
Okay, great.
oh, Karen says she's having trouble signing in too.
Janet, is Karen still trying or?
Yeah, she said she's having trouble signing in. Back in the day when we were all proficient.
Yeah. I got hung up in the 0/O thing. All right, it says I'm coming in.
Yes. Yep.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Oh, and the passcode. So like I don't have my trustee email coming to this computer either. So I had to enter the passcode and the passcode had a 0 in it. But if you put in an O, that could be confusing. I wonder if that's what Karen is having the issue with.
Huh. I didn't have to do any of that. I just
Right.
clicked the link.
Click the link. Yep. Yep.
Recording in progress.
All right. All right.
Okay. All right, why don't we get started and hopefully Karen will join us as we go. So I'm just going to call the meeting to order at 7:06 and welcome everybody to our first meeting of the new year. Hope you all had a great holiday. And here we are on Zoom because of the inclement weather. So thank you for altering your plans and joining me here. So we're just going to start right off with December's action items. Let's see. The first item was that I would reach out to Deb Hoadley and let her know that the board voted to wait until she's available to continue with the strategic plan. I did do that. And I'll just let you know now, rather than when we get to strategic plan. She emailed an invoice to Yvette and I today for her 2023 work, and it looks like she is going to be ready to get started again in early February. So she thanks us for our patience, and so I'll keep you posted. That was the latest news that we've heard from that. The next action item was that Yvette would share our questions with Alyssa regarding the collection agency proposal. And you received some information, and Alyssa's here. So I'm guessing when we get to that, she will enlighten us with some more information. Yvette would also send a link to the Narcan training video to the trustees via email, and we'll bring questions to the safety committee. That's under old business. So why don't we talk about that when we get there also? So were there any other action items? No? Okay. Moving
Can
on.
Can I just ask for Deb Holdley?
Yes.
What fund is that coming out of?
Janet, you can't tell because we're on screen, but all eyes are on you right now. So.
I think it's passports.
Okay.
Okay, I'll double check minutes, but
I'm pretty sure it's passports.
Hi, Karen.
Hi.
Nice to see you.
Yeah,
Glad you could join us.
I can. I don't know why, but I just had trouble getting on Zoom.
No problem. We're here
But-
and just so you know, the meeting is being recorded. So,
Yes,
Okay.
that's
Okay.
part of why I had to give permission.
okay,
So,
great. Good.
yeah.
Okay, so no update on SMP. I mentioned the strategic plan. Karen, I'll just let you know that Deb Hoadley is going to be ready to start again in February. So we will look
Okay,
forward to
good.
that.
Yep. Thank you.
Next is the building maintenance project list. Did anybody have any questions for Yvette about our project list?
No.
We changed E, it still said energy audit. I asked Yvette to change that to HVAC, just so we have a placeholder for HVAC while we're moving forward or, taking steps towards that. I don't know that there's anything new to report. Yvette, do you have anything new for us on the HVAC?
just that I received the contract. This was the proposal that was made into a contract. I signed it. I returned it to them today, and I'm gonna have a phone call with their team to kind of just go over something that Paul had sent questions. He had answered your questions, but I think it's just really reiterating his answers and your questions. So what's the purpose of this? Just
Yeah, so just
pages-
for a refresher, that's the retro commissioning agent who's going to look at what we can take, what we can fix easily, and what with the HVAC, and what we need to sort of be planning for the future of the system, what parts we should be looking at immediately, what we can push out a little bit. So great. I think we'll all be really curious to hear what they find. That will be really helpful to know for going forward. Any questions about the HVAC for Yvette? Okay, next is the Narcan info meeting, and I did put out to ask people if they'd be interested, and we did have people who would be interested in the trustees meeting with their contact, but I wasn't sure who I should be going through. If I should go through Yvette, Molly, sounded like you knew the same person. I'm just not sure what the next step is to set something up with this person. Yvette, did you want us to handle it on our own? Did you want to still be the point person for her? Not sure what you want to do.
I think if you're scheduling a trustee meeting with her, it's better for you guys to
Mhm.
coordinate your schedules with her.
Okay.
mean-
So yeah, I can reach out to her and ask her what her availability is, and see when she can meet with us. I think that I would feel more comfortable if we had a meeting like this. I mean, it's unfortunate that we can't even meet with the staff, or maybe we could invite staff when we find the time so that we can all be hearing things the same. I mean, I know that your staff members are, have decided they want to move forward with this, but maybe just having a conversation where they could hear some of our concerns and we could all hear it answered would be useful too. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's 20 staff.
Yeah, I know.
But
Oh, I know. I'm just
you
thinking
guys-
like the people on the safety committee even, but
Oh.
anyways, I will, why don't I find out what, is her name Lisa? Is that correct? Lisa? Lisa, I will find out what Lisa's availability is. And then once we schedule something, I can always let you know. And if there is anybody from the safety committee who would be interested in attending with us, I think I would welcome them to be there as well, to hear what we're hearing. So we're all on the same page. So does anyone have any comments, questions, additional thoughts on the Narcan?
No, just to
I
say
think
that
it's a good idea just for us to just do, due diligence and just have complete information.
Molly, were you going to say something too?
yeah, just I don't know Lisa, but the person that I know was referring us to Lisa, so
Okay.
That works great for me. But that sounds like a good plan.
Okay, sorry to misunderstand that. Just, I was like, oh, you know the
No,
same
it's
person.
okay.
And then
Yeah. I'm sure there's not that many of them in the state, but I don't know. Sounds good to me.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, moving on to new business. The current budget that we're in right now, we have the general ledger, invoice manifest, and open POs.
We didn't get the invoices from,
Okay, I'm
Okay.
looking at,
you don't have that yet.
no, I have my general ledger and my open POs. You're right.
Yep.
So, questions for Yvette about?
Well, I figure when the invoices come in, but I had a couple questions which were like, I saw that dues was overspent, so I just was curious what dues were paid. And then there was a miscellaneous charge, and I was curious what that was as well.
That might be, yeah. I know, I'll double check, and when I get the invoice manifest, I'll send it to you, obviously, but I know with dues, we had everyone renewing for NHLA and NELA, and that's a lot of people. And there was a strange charge that the miscellaneous might be this charge. It was something that Joanne was tracking down where Adam Britton had used his work credit card to pay a bill, one of our bills, and we don't have a record of that. So that was, she was tracking it down and getting in touch with the secretary over there. So that might be it, because it was something that came up with us too. But I'll find out.
Okay.
Great, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, moving on to the budget for the next fiscal year. We did get it sent back to us. It's the town manager budget is $1,000 less than we asked for because an expense that we have no control over went down $1,000. So that is, otherwise everything was intact from the town manager. Yvette and I are going, and Janet are going before the town council on Thursday to present the budget, which gives them an opportunity to ask us any questions about decisions we made. So you're welcome to join us. We're like, I think second, you said, Janet, after
Yeah.
welfare. So, which is a good spot. So
Unless they move us.
so yeah, so that we will be doing that. I feel very comfortable. I feel like our budget is, we thought about it a lot. We talked about it a lot. Every decision we made had a reason behind it. So I'm comfortable going before them. So okay. Policy review. Why don't we get into the circulation policy so that Alyssa doesn't need to stay any longer? Although I'm sure she finds this enthralling. She can talk to us about the collections and the changes to the circulation policy, and then go forward. Thank you for the changes and for the flow chart as well. I appreciate that,
Yeah, of
Alyssa.
course. So thanks, Deb. So I guess first, so in the circulation policy, I put in basically a sample of what, I think we would change it to if we were to adopt a collections agency. I pulled a lot of the language actually from what Manchester has in their policies related to the collections agency there. So I just sort of modified it to fit us here. And then I put together that flow chart and was able to get the sample letters from the agency themselves for sort of what it looks like when they mail those things out. So I think that sent those all out with the packets. So I guess first, based on, the information you had in the last meeting and then this extra information, what other questions would people have that I can answer?
I have a question about the letters. So these are all sample letters, and these are all, from what you just said, makes a little bit more sense. So these letters are like, the first one goes out and then another one goes out and then another and then another. So it's not like it's a sample of something like this for the first letter.
Right.
It's more like, this is the first one, this would be the second one, third one, fourth one.
That's what I believe. In looking at it, that's what it looked like to me as well. I could clarify that, but I'm pretty sure it's like they have like their language and everything sort of down, and they're like, this is what gets sent out with the first one, and really what changes is the library information on it.
Okay.
So because I know there's like, library is asking for whatever.
Right.
So the Merrimack Public Library, and then all of our information, our contact information. Yeah, so I think that it's like, whichever one says number one, that's the first one they send out, and then the preceding ones. So they do, I think the first communication that they send is a letter, and then the next like week, it seems like they would do a phone call if they have phone number information. They'll also do email notices if they have the email address on file. So it kind of depends on what contact information we have in the patron account for how they're able to get in contact with the patron. But I think most of it they try to do via letter and phone call, since those, are sort of the ways that people are most likely to see that. People, emails get lost. But if they have the email address, they'll do that as well. And they work with the patron up to date. I believe it's 120. I have to double check that. So it's basically they will periodically send out these notices to try and work with the patron to get it down to $0, or we can also set a limit where we're like, can you work with them down to $10? And then at that point, if they've paid it off down to $10, then we don't need you to contact them anymore. We can sort of set a threshold there, but their default is down to 0. Let me see if I can find exactly what they said for the how long it goes on. Yes, so they'll work with the patron for up to 120 days after we first submit the account to collections. After that point, they don't submit it to credit reporting. So it's sort of at that point, like, we tried our best and we're not getting that stuff back, and we just sort of have to cut our losses at that point. So essentially it's functioning as an extension of our notifications. We have our current notice and billing schedule. We send out our first and second overdue notices, and then we send out our bills at 40 days overdue. And currently we have that at 60 days overdue, so 20 days after the bill has been sent. But in that 20-day window between when we send the bill and we hit 60 days, anything that comes back during that time, we will automatically waive it. That's, partly a window for patrons to, know when they can bring it back, and they have, sort of a set time to bring things back and know that they'll get it waived. And also for department heads that we know we have this window in which we don't want to order any replacement items because the patrons could bring it back. And then after that point, we can feel comfortable ordering replacements for anything, especially newer items that we want them, but we don't want to order it and then have the patron bring it back. And then now we have these 2 copies that we don't need. It makes it a little bit clearer for us. But it works out well because looking at Manchester's notice timing, the 40 days billing, that's consortial. So all of the libraries in the consortium send out their bills at this 40 days overdue. And Manchester currently submits any of their accounts to collections at 60 days overdue as well. So that aligns with sort of what we're doing now. So it would feel good to sort of be in line with them and also in line with what our current procedure is. So really the only thing that would change for us is at the 60 days, right now we're not sending out any more notices. We send out the bill and that's it. And we just hope that we get it back. It would be really, really difficult and time consuming for staff to try and manually pull more notices and call people. And my staff aren't trained to call and ask people to bring all their stuff back over and over again. Whereas this collections agency, they are, they're trained to be able to communicate with patrons to get items back to us. They are library specific. They only do this for libraries. So they said that they're registered as a collections agency because they have to be legally, but they don't really function as one since they're not submitting it to credit reporting after. They're really just sending out these notices. They're using language to try and refer the patrons back to the library. They have, really good privacy protections in place. They're not sending out, they're not getting the titles of any items. They're just getting the balance, which is really good. It made me feel really comfortable that, they're really respecting the privacy laws that we have. And, their goal, which I felt aligned with our goals, was to get the patrons back in. Getting the items back is a bonus, but really we want to get these patrons back in the library, still using the library, which is really hard if they have a lot of charges on the account. So they, are trying to use language that will encourage patrons to come back to us because we can help them and assist them, and it helps to have a third party that's kind of doing this, like, hey, you got to bring the things back, so that way it's not like the people they see at the front desk are also the people calling them and telling them to return the materials. So I feel like I kind of went on like this big long tangent there, but hopefully that answers some of the questions. Maybe I got some of the questions, some other questions you guys might have had, but what else can I help with?
So I had one specific to the letter, and I don't have it in front of me, but it said, it says to call, but it doesn't say, it doesn't, in that area, it doesn't show a phone number. So from reading it, if I was a patron, I wouldn't know if I was calling the library, or if I was calling the collection agency. So I don't know. It said something about there was more information on the backside. So
Yeah,
I just missed that, but I just wanted to make sure it was clear to whoever it is, if it says to call, like, who are they calling and what's the number to call?
yeah, I'm not sure. It's kind of hard with these letters because they're just generic, so they don't have the information in there as far as like the phone numbers and things. So I'm not 100% sure. But I do know the representative that I spoke with said that at least in terms of sending checks, occasionally people will send a check to the collections agency instead of to us. He said very, very rare that happens, but sometimes someone will just accidentally send it to the agency instead of to their library. And when that happens, they will forward it to us. So I assume that in the event someone called them on accident, they would be able to get the information to have them call the library.
Okay.
Any other questions for Alyssa? What are people's thoughts on this?
I'm fine with it because it's over $40. So it's not like we're going after people for $5. Like, these are bigger items or multiple items that they're not returning. So to me, that really adds up. So I'm fine with it. And I'm not just saying that because Alyssa's my daughter.
Oh, no. Would never think that. I am okay with it, but I would like to propose that we do it as like a pilot, kind of like we did with our fines, in that if we did it for a year and then saw how it went, like, and maybe this is just a matter of putting it on so that it comes back around in a year and we can have a like, okay, we're going to see now, has this made a difference? Have we gotten stuff back? Has it, had an impact, rather than just get on board and just have it with no check back in to see how it's going. So I guess that would be my thought, would be like, okay, let's do it, but let's do it for a year and revisit and see, has this made sense financially? Has this worked? Have we gotten materials back? So that's my only caveat I would feel to accepting doing it, is that I'd want to be able to check back on it. So
yeah, and in terms of canceling it, he said the only thing they need is they just ask for a 60-day notice. That we don't want to continue. So it's not like we're locked into like a really strict contract or anything. So and because it's charged, they charge us per account submitted. We're not. It's going to be. We'll be able to see sort of how much we're paying is going to be based on the patrons that are submitted as well.
Yeah, and I'm anticipating that it'll work out great. I think it's just still like, okay, let's make sure before we did fines, we kind of did it as a pilot and see like, how is that going? And I just think doing something like this, which is sort of a new thing for us, might be useful to just, okay, in a year we'd like to see, or in 6 months we'd like to see. I feel like a year is probably better because it gives you a chance to kind of run the program through all the seasons and see how it goes. But I don't know.
Yeah, and they will send us like reports as well.
Okay.
There was a lot of talk about like, yeah, you'll get like, I think weekly or monthly or maybe both reports on like how many accounts have been submitted, who's been, communicating with them, things like that. So they seem to be very good with the communication on sort of the statistics of our accounts as well.
Great. And does anyone have additional questions or thoughts before I make a motion?
I just thought of one more. So say it gets to 120 days and we don't get anything back. How much are they charging us? Is it just the $10 fee for doing that?
It's just that it's $11.65, I think, per account. So it's just that charge. It's they charge us that anytime an account is submitted. So you know, we submit someone, they hit their $40, we submit them, they give us that $11.65 charge. We have the option of adding this additional $10 to $12 charge on a patron account to try and recoup some of that, which I would recommend doing. That's what Manchester does. They put the $10 charge. So if a patron comes in and pays all their things back, you know, we're only paying $1.65 to have submitted them because they pay that little charge. Obviously, if they don't come back, we aren't getting back any of that. But it's like a flat rate for any time account is submitted. If a patron comes in and starts working with us and gets on some kind of payment plan, we can have the agency pause in communicating with them because we're like, we've seen the patron, they're working with us. If then we don't see that patron again after we paused it, we can sort of turn on notifications for them again, and it stays under that same rate that we initially paid. So we aren't paid again for continuing, but if that patron were to pay everything off and then we have to submit them again, then we're charged that fee again. So it's basically every time we have a new submission, we're charged that $11.65. And if we don't see the patron come back at all, that's all that we're on the hook for. And then obviously the materials that don't come back.
Thank you. Any other questions or
And if we
thoughts?
don't see, so we've opened up a submission on someone and we don't, and they don't pay at all, then we're
Yep.
still charged the $11.65.
Correct.
Okay, well, if there's no further questions, I am going to make a motion that we use the collection agency as Alyssa has outlined and revisit it in 1 year. So run it as a pilot so that we can see how it's going.
I'll
I'll
second.
second.
Okay, are there any further comments or questions for Alyssa or for the board? Okay, we'll do
Come
a
out of
roll.
fine.
Pardon me?
This would come out of fines.
Okay. So, right, because that's where it would go back into. Okay.
Exactly.
So, Jen, can you add that to the motion to come out of fines, just so that it's noted in there? Thank you.
So
Um,
each charge will come out of fines. Is that like, are we gonna do that monthly or
I don't know. I don't know how it's charged.
do you know, Alyssa?
I
Is
have
it
to see.
monthly-
I'm not.
monthly bill?
I'm not sure actually. I don't think I have that
Yeah,
specifically. I think it's just. No, I don't want to say because I'm not sure.
yeah, could you
I could
just
get
look
that
into that and let
information.
Janet know just for
Yeah,
budgeting
absolutely.
purposes? So that would be great. But either way, whether it comes out monthly on each one, quarterly, it's all going to come out of fines. So, okay, so we need to do a roll call vote because we're on Zoom. I think that's just a more appropriate way to do it. So, I will say Janet,
Yes.
Molly,
Yes.
Jen,
Yes.
Robbie,
Yes.
and I am in favor. Yes. Okay, and then I will make a motion. So 500. And then I will make a motion that we accept the circulation, the changes to the circulation policy. Are there any questions for Alyssa about that? Okay, so do I have a second on that?
I'll second.
Thank you. Then I should have asked, are there any questions? I'm all befuddled here with this. So, okay, so we'll do a roll call again. Janet,
Yes.
Molly,
Yes.
Jen,
Yes.
Robbie,
Yes.
and I am in favor as well. So 500. Thank you very much, Alyssa, for joining
Thank you,
us
guys.
and clarifying some things and giving us some more information. That was really helpful.
Yeah, of course. And Janet, I'll get that information to you about how it's charged as well.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you,
guys.
Alyssa. Have a good night.
You too.
Good night.
Okay, great. So we also have the investment. I'm sorry.
Nothing, I just cleared my throat.
Okay. We also have the investment policy, which Janet sent out to everybody. Janet, did you want to speak to that?
Sure. There are no changes. Let me pull that up. there's, I don't really have too much to say about it, actually.
Okay. This is just our policy for how we,
This is our
we invest
policy,
our
yeah.
money.
Mhm.
So it's time for us to review it and
Just
vote on
review,
it.
exactly, review it and vote on it, because it's, needs to be submitted to, the state.
I'll make a motion if nobody has questions on it. I'll make a motion to accept the investment policy without changes.
Second.
Okay, any further questions for Janet? Okay, we'll do a roll call. Janet,
Yes,
Molly,
Yes.
Jen,
Yes.
Robbie,
Yes.
and I am in favor. So 500.
Awesome.
Thank you, Janet.
excellent, thank you.
Grant, I think that was all for the policies, right? I did not miss anything, Yvette, correct? Okay, so grants. Jen, is there anything for us to know about with grants?
No, I don't think so. Yvette, I forgot to get in touch with you to see about Grant Station, if you were gonna sign us up for that, or if that's something I should do, or how we go about doing that.
I have signed us up for a grant station
Oh, awesome.
Ooh,
for the 2 years, so we're ready to go.
Okay, great. So I can just contact you separately on getting login information and everything. Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. And Yvette forwarded me some information on public hearings they're going to be having about some grant stuff on the town side, but I'm not sure if that's something, I'll need to look into that a little more, see if that's anything that pertains to us, or maybe just something to know about for the future.
Great. Thank you. Thanks for keeping that sort of out there, and that's now an agenda item for us and just top of mind so it doesn't get lost in the shuffle. So thank you. Okay, director's report.
oh, actually, I
Yvette.
have a question.
Oh, sorry, go
Um,
ahead, Janet.
The grant station, is that something that I can have access to in
Sure.
terms of login? Okay.
Yeah.
Research, it's all good.
I will make a note to forward you guys the info or get it to you.
Great. Thank you. Okay, director's report. Yvette.
Okay, so this month we didn't have any gifts. We've posted the youth services page aide position. I don't have any applicants yet. Janet, I got your financial list for the Quimby accounts. Write a letter. I was out sick 2 days last week, so I haven't quite gotten to that yet. So under some of the things that I highlighted, the elevator refurbishment project is starting on January 29th. We're just gonna kind of bring back that schedule that we had worked out in the fall, and workers will be on site at 7 a.m. Different department heads have kind of been assigned which morning we're going to be there to open for the crew. We still understand from the foreman who had visited the building that the first week is still the most complicated, noisiest week, with removing the kind of this tower of equipment from the elevator mechanical room and putting it in the clump room and doing whatever they do so that they can get the elevator to work a little bit. But that first week, they were telling us 4 or 5 days, absolutely no elevator, nothing will be connected. So we still think it's a good idea to close to the public, just so there's no mishaps of any kind. What we are looking at is to have staff in the building from 9 to 5, run curbside services from 10 to 4. And then there was a list of projects that the staff had said they wanted to do. So we would just move those up to now. We've got a lot of online training to review, shelf reading, inventory shifting, We'll still get deliveries. Jared is going to paint the clump room and the stairwell. Youth Services is going to be working on their collection. That was something they had to put off from the fall. Tech is also going to be weeding magazines. I mean, it's really just doing a lot of the collection stuff on the floor that is more challenging to do when we're interacting with the public. So we have a long list of things to do. We've got the hours covered. We're going to be able to do curbside. What we understand from the foreman is that after that first week, they'll turn the elevator on and they can work it in the morning to move carts of books up and down. But we won't have access to turn it on and off. It's just they will turn it on for us, run it once, we move the carts up and down, and then it's off and they're working. We've moved some of the programs already. We're starting to be in touch with our passport appointments, and really just, letting people know if they are going to be in the building during this, 4-week project or 5-week project, that, they will not have access to the elevator. So groups that have booked the meeting room downstairs, we're going to let them know, and they can determine if they want to reschedule somewhere else or go ahead and still have their meeting. Passports usually are upstairs, but then we just have to let people know to use the restrooms, those are downstairs and you need to use the main stairwell. Just kind of things like that. We're trying to cover everything. When the building is closed, I know I have passport appointments on Monday night, so I have to call my people and say, let me reschedule you. So, because the building's gonna be closed, and we just don't want anyone to have any issues if it's an unsafe area, because it's all right there by the entrance. So just trying to be extra cautious. So I don't know if you have any questions about that. No,
I'm just glad to see that it's moving forward sooner rather than later. So
yeah.
Yes.
Yes. It's been something. Okay, I told you about the HVAC already. I have been texting Scott because he asked me to communicate with him that way, and I have not gotten anything back from him. Moving down to the Square conversation that the GMELCS board is having, that's later on this week. So pretty much the board has decided to not renew Comprise. And so each library will need to find another service to use, and most everyone wants to move to Square. So I have some information from the reference librarian at the Derry Public Library that I can forward to you if you want to read it. This is really all about their procedures and all the information that they've had, because they've already been using Square. They never used Comprise. So, and then we'll have a discussion on Thursday at our board meeting, and just see if there are any other questions people have. But really that's the way it's going to go. So we can set that up. We have to set it up before April 1st, Janet. So we're going to have to, I'll forward you definitely the information from Derry,
Okay.
so you can see how their process is. Let's see, what else? Oh yeah. So we have started to work on an update of the personnel policy manual. It's been a couple of years since, I think it was 2017, the last time it was updated and the board reviewed it. So department heads and I've gone through it once, and I'm going through it chapter by chapter with the department heads, and we're kind of all looking at it and editing it together. I have a copy of the town's draft policy manual also that I'm kind of, we always defer to the town's policy manual if there's something that isn't covered in ours. And so at what point in this process would the board like to see it? That's my main question, because it'll go through our department heads. Sharon should review it. The town attorney should review it, and then the board review it. So at what point do you think is best for you? And of course, you see it multiple times.
I would say, I think it would be appropriate for the board to see it after the department heads, before the town HR director.
Okay.
Because if we have things that we want to put in, and I'm not sure that we will, but the town HR director might look at them and say, oh, I don't think so, you know, that sort of thing. I'd hate to see it go to the attorney and then for us to have questions afterwards. That seems like a little too late. So I don't know. Does anybody have any other thoughts? Would you rather see it after the town HR director? I feel like before a personnel policy manual goes out into the public, we should have a look at it. So
Yep.
I think that's smart. Yeah. And then obviously we'd see it again after the town attorney because we need to vote on it. So.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
So that's going to be a little while.
Okay.
I would say maybe 2 months.
Okay, great.
Trying to be very careful. So that's everything I wanted to highlight in my report. I don't know if you have any questions about anything in it.
Yvette, when you were saying about the town personnel manual draft,
Mhm.
I was wondering if you had seen the new staff schedule as far as salaries go that
Yeah.
Paul was working on. Is that
It's included.
something? It's included in there. Okay. Because
Yes,
that
but
is something that we
that's
need
the
to look
draft.
at. Okay.
Yeah.
I
'Cause
can ask Paul for it.
Yeah, because we need to be looking at that once we get through this budget, like this budget process, the vote, and then deciding how we're
Yep.
proceeding in a more formal manner and giving our staff some expectations about what's to come. So,
Yeah. I mean, when the department heads and I are looking at it, we're looking at what needs to be updated. You know, we're looking at it,
yeah.
but we're also saying, okay, what are the what are the
Mhm.
things that are going to be noted in the back, included as an appendix or something. And I think whatever the board decides for a staff salary schedule, should be in it, because people, when they get hired, they ask,
Yeah, and I would really like to see, obviously, we wanted to see what Paul was putting forth as his proposal too. So, Janet, are you going to ask for Paul for a copy of that and then just
Yep.
send that to us? Okay. That'd be great.
Okay. Yep.
Thank you.
I had a question. You mentioned reaching out to Scott again, but I thought we were going to do the RFP for seeing if there was anybody else we could get to, since he wasn't responsive.
Yes, I'm working on that.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions for Yvette? Okay, great. Thank you, Yvette.
Yep.
Treasurer's report.
Okay. So this is for the month of December. Beginning balance for fines was $5,759.66. That was our beginning balance. And our ending balance was $6,150.02. And then for special, we began the month with $56,936.29. And we ended the month with $56,778.74. Anybody have any questions?
Okay, great.
Okay.
Thank you, Janet. All right, moving on, we have the acceptance of minutes. We have our December 19th, 2023 minutes.
I did
Any,
notice just under December action items, like the way the lettering was going, it carried over from the thing before, so it was like D whatever. So I just changed it, so it's A, B, C, D. under
okay,
December action items. So that's a correction.
okay. Okay. Any other corrections or questions for Jen? Okay, seeing none, I'll make a motion that we accept the December 19th, 2023 minutes with those corrections.
Second.
Thank you. I'll do a roll call vote. Janet,
Yes.
Molly,
Yes.
Jen,
Yes.
Robbie,
Yes.
okay, and I say yes as well. So 500. Thank you, Jen. Okay. Committee updates. There's nothing for the Building Exploratory Committee. For the Friends of the Library, Jen, is there anything for that?
So they're having the winter book sale this weekend. So that's the 19th. The evening will be the Friends only membership sale. And then on Saturday, 9 to 2 will be open to the public. And they meet, we haven't met since our last meeting. So they meet on the end of the month on the 29th at 7 o'clock.
Or maybe they won't, because that is going to be when the library is closed, right? So that might have to be like Zoom or we open, yeah. You guys can figure out what you want to do. So
Yeah, I'll be emailing Debbie.
okay. Okay.
You know,
Jen?
they did say if anybody's available to help with setup or during it or pick up afterwards, they're always open to have some volunteers. So
Jen, what time is the Friends? What time is the Friends on Friday?
5:15 to 7.
Okay.
And they're doing Thursday evening. I don't know, Yvette, are they doing any Wednesday setup? They're doing, I know, Thursday evening, so
not
probably
Thursday.
daytime as well Thursday. So I know we've got the town council meeting Thursday evening, but I think they'll be there in the morning. Usually starts at like 9 Thursday, right, Yvette?
Yeah, we'll have the room. I don't have the calendar up, but if there is nothing in the room, and I think there's nothing in the room, then Pauline will usually come like Wednesday afternoon or evening and start setting up tables. We do have 2 scout groups that are going to come Thursday at 5:30 to move the boxes of books from the O'Leary Center to the library. So that's set up. So yeah, if you want to come help set up, you're welcome to do that anytime. Probably the best thing is after 6:30 on Thursday or Friday day. And then if you want to help out, you can show up or email me, or because I usually help to coordinate with the friends who's coming. And there are things to do, like helping at the table where people pay, and then of course helping patrons shop and keeping things tidy and taking things out to cars for people, and just being a trustee and putting your name tag on and getting to know the public.
Okay. Thank you. Are they still accepting donations?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Okay, great. Okay, great. Thanks, Jen. Let's see, nothing from the Development Fund. Their next meeting will be February 12th. Town Center, Karen, anything from the Town Center?
No, there hasn't been a meeting for well over a month. I believe there's one scheduled either this Friday or next Friday, and I just have to check. I haven't gotten an email.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to our committees, the Personnel Committee. Can somebody refresh my memory? Who is on the Personnel Committee? Is it Ruth Marie and I don't know who the other person.
I don't think we set it up.
Really? Okay, well, we do need to have a Personnel Committee. And the reason is that Yvette's review is something that we work on in March. We have to do it before there's a new board in place in April, or so we could go do it up through April. But last year, I think we waited a little too long and didn't have a chance to review the review the document we use, the instrument. So I was hoping that a personnel committee could look at that. I don't know why I thought we had talked about it and that Ruth Marie was one of the people who stepped up, but I can't remember. I don't know.
That sounds
Give,
familiar, but yeah.
yeah, give it some thought. I'll look back through minutes too, but I can send out what we've used in the past, and maybe people can decide if they are interested, if we could have a couple people just look at it and bring some fresh eyes to it. That might be really helpful to see if we need to make some changes. So that was just on my mind. We don't need to decide anything today, but I wanted to make sure that we mentioned it, and I will share what we've used in the past with you. Finance Committee. So I did, with Janet's help, send all of our information to Terry Knowles, and she had a chance to look at it and got back to us with some information, kind of reiterating what we thought with anticipated funds versus unanticipated funds, that we don't need to, that fines should never be included in the budget, and that unanticipated funds do not need to be in the budget also, because we don't know what we're making. So how could we say that? But we did want to meet with her and kind of go over it a little bit more and get a more formal understanding of things. And Janet and I have been thinking about times, and I realized the time we scheduled for next week, or thought about scheduling for next week, isn't going to work for me. So Janet, I will just get in touch with you and we'll try to set up something. Terry has like a limited schedule, so we need to work within her schedule. So we will be meeting with her, getting more information and reporting back to you. But looking at the current ledger that Yvette sent to us, I think it just, brings to mind that a lot of things that are on the ledger, the lines that are there are not accurate, So if you look at our general ledger and you go down to line 38, which is the trustee money, it's 38, and there's a line for fines that doesn't go there. There's a line for book sales that wouldn't go there. There's a line for copies that doesn't go there. Like there's some things that need to be cleaned up and clarified. So it's all part of the same package. So anyways, Janet, do you have anything to add to that from Terry's email that you wanted to share?
No, other than she has the right information, and I'm glad we got in touch with her.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, so we will get from her, more of an idea exactly answering our specific questions about reporting out unanticipated information, what should be included in that line 38, that sort of thing. So we will let you know. So, and then we will talk to Adam about it afterwards once we are clear. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to share the document where the information she sent back. We're still kind of having a back and forth because she wasn't clear on some of the stuff I sent her. So we're just getting it all straightened out. Okay. Building committee. We did set up a building committee. So that's why I think there is a personnel committee. I think there is. I'm going to have to go back and look.
Yeah, we did this not that long ago with the building committee.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure you're right about Ruth Marie, so we'll have to look back. That must have been
Okay.
earlier in the year.
Okay.
I don't think we have any updates, do we, Janet? And Yvette, feel free to reach out if there's anything Janet and I can help you with, or anything you want us to be involved in, or take a look at. Happy to schedule some time.
Okay. Great. Thank you. Is there anything else before I review January's action items? Okay, so what I have down is that Yvette is going to continue working on an RFP for the roof. I'm going to reach out to Lisa about setting up Narcan, a meeting to discuss Narcan. Yvette is going to send the grant database information to the trustees. Janet is going to get the staff salary schedule from Paul for us to look at. I'm going to find out who our personnel committee is, and I will send everybody the evaluation so that you can take a look at what we've done, or we've been calling it a review, which is more accurate, the review. Was there anything else that should be on the action items?
You just back up. I couldn't catch all of it in the minutes.
Sure,
So,
no, sorry. It said Yvette
good.
was going to continue to work on the RFP for the roof.
Yep,
That I'm going to reach out to Lisa regarding the Narcan training.
yep,
That Yvette is going to send the grant database information to the trustees. Janet is going to get the staff schedule from Paul, the staff salary schedule from Paul, his draft one for town hall. I'm going to find out who the personnel committee is. You can run, but you can't hide. It's in the minutes. So so we'll find out who the personnel committee is, and I will send you, I'll send everybody, just for your information, what the review has looked like in the past. And see what needs to be changed and altered. And Yvette, I'd welcome your input on that too. If there are certain things that, in looking at it, you thought this isn't really what I do anymore, just to kind of make sure it's accurate. So,
Sure.
and there was something else I just thought of. It was something Yvette was going to do. Yvette, what else were you going to do?
I'm sending you the login information for Grant
Yeah.
Station.
Yeah, there was something else too. I don't know. Okay. Something else you were going to send to us, send to Janet. Oh, you're going to, I don't know. Okay, sorry.
Well, she and I are going to get together
About
sometime
Square.
before April 1st.
Okay,
the
about Square. Okay, that was what it was. Thank you. Okay, Square information. Okay. Anything else?
I'm going to send the investment policy and our annual report to the state.
And I do know Lisa Vasquez as well. So
Oh,
if
you
you need support reaching out to her, or getting in touch with her, I'm happy to help.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay. Anything else? Okay, I will read the upcoming events. The Friends of the Merrimack Public Library's winter book sale will be this Saturday from 9 to 2. The members only pre-sale will be this Friday, January 19th, 5:15 to 7 p.m. The elevator refurbishment project starts on January 29th at 7 a.m. Friends of the Merrimack Public Library will be meeting. We'll just have to post once we know when, because it was originally scheduled for the 29th. The Merrimack Public Library Development Fund will be meeting on February 12th at 5 p.m. in the Merrimack Library's Lowell Room. And our next trustee meeting will be February 20th. We will be back at the Merrimack Memorial Room in the Town Hall. Anything else? Do we need a non-public for anything today, Yvette? No? Okay. Then if there's no other business to come before the board, I will make a motion that we adjourn at 8:01.
I'll second.
Okay, great. Let's do a roll call. I say yes.
The second
Janet,
better.
Yes.
Janet or Robbie?
Molly, they were both,
Yes.
chomping at the bit. Jen,
Yes.
okay, and Robbie.
Yes.
Okay, great. So we adjourn at 8:01. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for checking on me, Janet.
You're welcome.
See
Yvette,
you
are
all
you
next-
turning off the recording, right?